Introducing the Bite Me Cannabis Club. The Bite Me Cannabis Club aims to be an inclusive online space for cannabis lovers. Whether you're simply curious about how cannabis can improve your life or you're fully seasoned, there's always more to learn. When you join the Bite Me Cannabis Club, you'll have access to like-minded people interested in cannabis, monthly workshops, live Q&As, recipes and recipe swaps, digital cookbooks, a fully functional chat feature, and a whole lot more. For a limited time, it's only $5 a month with a 30-day free trial so you can try it out and see if it's right for you. This isn't just another Facebook group or confusing Discord channel. I carefully chose a platform that offers a clear, uncluttered, and seamless community experience. See for yourself, join today, say hello. I can't wait to connect with you there. Join the Bite Me Cannabis Club today. Link in your podcast app. Hey everyone, welcome back to Bite Me, the show all about edibles, where I help you take control of your high life. I'm your host, Marge, and I'm suffering from allergies today, so if you hear a little bit of nasal congestion, it is in fact true. My nose is stuffed up, thanks to goldenrod and ragweed that's growing literally everywhere around me, pretty much. So I'm suffering with that, but otherwise, things have been good. I did an episode last week on bacon cookies. If you haven't listened to that one yet, I highly suggest you give that one a shot, where I give you all my tips and tricks for baking my favorite edible of all time, the chocolate chip cookie. You'll probably realize why I like it so much too once you have a listen. And I give an especially good tip for making a cookie that almost everyone can eat, no matter what their dietary preferences. So have a listen to that. Another little housekeeping issue as well is I am working to release these episodes every Thursday, hoping to have them Thursday morning. So episode drops will be Thursday mornings, let's say 10 a.m., so I give myself a little bit of time, but hopefully that will help you anticipate when new episodes are coming out if they come at the same time every week. Sort of makes sense. So I hope you'll tune into those and maybe even consider subscribing. That would be wonderful. This week we have a listener Q&A. What? So exciting. I'm excited. I was super excited actually when I got the email from Dave out of the United States. And Dave had a couple of really great questions, actually. And if I will get to them right here, we can go over them. So, Dave from the US of A says, do I need to decarb my flour if I'm infusing butter for a prolonged period? I sous vide the butter and flour at 180 to 200 degrees Fahrenheit for a couple of hours. Shouldn't this allow the THCA to disconnect from the THC? So that is a great question. And what I answered him was basically the answer is, logically, skipping the decarb would make sense because he's using the sous vide method. And yet, when I use my magical butter machine, which keeps the coconut oil that I'm using around the same temperature, it's not quite as hot, but it's around that neighborhood of the 180 to 200 degrees that he mentioned, I still decarb first. When you decarb first before trying to make your infusion, you make sure that you are fully activating all of the potential THC, as well as the cannabinoids, I think I said that right, and the terpenes that would be present in your stream of cannabis that you're using. Now, there's always the caveat, if you're pretty happy with how your edibles are turning out, you can always skip the decarbing. But it's not as efficient, and it's coming down to the efficiency. It's not as efficient to decarb and infuse at the same time. Now, if you find that you're getting high enough from your edibles and they're potent enough, sure, go ahead and skip it. And you are going to be getting probably a little bit of decarbing while you're sous vide at the same time anyway. But you could also be leaving some of the potency on the table, for lack of a better way to say it. You want to maximize the cannabis that you're using. So it would be worth experimenting to see if your infusion will go farther because it's more potent if you decide to actually do the decarbing step. So yes, I guess a short way of saying it is it's still important to decarb first. It's not as efficient to decarb and infuse at the same time because there's sort of two separate processes happening at the same time. So hopefully that answered Dave's question. He also asked another really great question, asking whether I've ever tried using concentrate as a THC additive. And does it work better for some things than others? And the answer to that is yes, if I understand what he's saying by the concentrate. So in the magical butter machine that I use, which I've also reviewed on this show, Making Magic with the magical butter machine, I talk a bit more about that device there. But I have made an alcohol-based infusion, which for some of the recipes like the gummy bears that I've made, you would after you've made your alcohol-based infusion, you would put some on the stove and sort of boil off all of the alcohol. And then you're left with like this molasses-like syrup almost when you're done, which works really well in things like the gummy bear recipes that I've tried. They would probably also work for syrups, frozen treats, maybe not as much for the baked goods, because the baked goods really what you're putting in for as far as an infusion goes is usually the fat. You're replacing the fat in the recipe for your infused coconut oil or butter or what have you. So concentrates can be really good for certain types of recipes. It might be even good in like some cocktails that you might want to try experimenting with, things like that. I personally find concentrates, the gummies themselves, my experience, were like really time consuming to make. So I just haven't really experimented with those as much since when I was playing around with gummies a lot, but I probably will go back to it just so I can report back here for all you guys listening. And they were kind of fun to make. Even though they were time consuming, some of the cleanup too was a little tedious, if you will, just because the molds I had for my gummy bears were so small, but they are pretty fun to give out to friends and family when you're giving out edibles. Cookies are great and everything, but people really do like gummies. I don't know, it brings out the kid in everybody, don't you think? Anyway, those are two great questions from Dave, and I really appreciate the fact that if you're listening, Dave, that you wrote in, and I have just yesterday sent off a little something special for Dave, just for taking the time to write in. And if I read one of your questions on the show, I will do the same for you. So you can always send me an email at bitemepodcast@fastmail.com, and I can feature your question on the show as well. And you might get a little something, you will get a little something special in the mail too. So keep that in mind as you listen. Also, you don't just have to have questions. If you have questions, that's great. Are there products you'd like me to review? Do you have comments that you'd like to share? Because I do appreciate feedback as well. Are there topics you'd like me to cover? I will read all of your messages. So again, that email is bitemepodcast@fastmail.com. Now, next week, I'm going to be starting the first in a quick bite mini series. See what I did there? Quick bite mini series on making some basic infusions, because that's sort of the next step you need before you go anywhere else as far as making your baked goods and dishes at home. And finally, the last thing I'd like to ask all of you out there listening is, would you please subscribe to the show? If you haven't clicked subscribe, please do that now while you're still on your phone. You have your phone out or whatever. And just know that these episodes will probably for the next, foreseeable future, I'm going to try and keep them short and sweet so you can easily slide them in with all the other great podcasts you're listening to out there. So just keep that in mind. Short and sweet is what we're after. And if you feel so compelled, leave a review. I would like that too on whatever podcast platform that you're using to listen to Bite Me. And finally, if you think you know somebody that might really enjoy this podcast, then I would be forever, forever grateful if you decide to share. So anyway, that's it for now, guys. Thank you again for listening. And until next week, happy edible making. Are you tired of trying edibles that are inconsistent in strength and flavor? Attempting to figure out your tolerance? Do you want to take control of your edibles experience and find the optimum combination of factors that results in the best outcome? If so, this edibles journal is perfect for you. The Bite Me Edibles Journal provides a convenient and organized way for you to track and record your edibles experience, whether it's homemade edibles or store-bought. It includes 48 fillable pages. It's sized 8.5 by 11 for plenty of writing space, includes information on calculating the potency of homemade edibles, and it was created by an edibles expert. Whether you're a seasoned edibles enthusiast or just starting out on your cannabis journey, the Bite Me Edibles Journal is an essential tool for anyone interested in enjoying their edibles to the fullest. Take control of your high life with this convenient and helpful resource. Add it to your Amazon cart today. Tap the link in the show notes.